Well, there are two ways you can approach this, because you can apply one of two laws. You can apply the law for a log of something minus a log of something else, right? Or you can apply the law for the log of something raised to a power. Turns out the easy solution is to apply the law we just have seen about a log of a quantity raised to a power. Okay? And I'm going to do it both ways. And most people did it the other way, but I'm going to illustrate this first. I think only one person solved it this way. Somebody solved it both ways. Okay? Does that make sense? Because the log of a quantity raised to a power is that power times the log of that quantity. Now, you can do it in terms of A's, B's, and C's, but if you do it methodically, identifying A, B, and C, B would be this, A would be this, C would be this, you write it as C log base B of A. Okay? Just like we did before. So, get that step down, then you see how this one comes. Well, now, it sure looks like we've got something minus 3 times that something, doesn't it? Okay? So it looks like what we've got here is negative 2 times the log base 2 of x minus 3 equals 5. Okay? And I would use 5. I should have used an even number. But we'll stick with 5, because sometimes numbers don't come out all that nicely. So we divide by negative 2. We get log base 2 of x minus 3 equals negative 5 halves. Right? And then we change to exponential notation. This says that x minus 3 is 2 raised to the negative 5 halves. So that x is 3 plus 2 raised to the negative 5 halves. Now, 2 raised to the negative 5 halves would be like 5.636 reciprocal. And in decimal form, that would be like 0.18 or something like that. Okay? They get like 3.18, but you'd have to go to a calculator to raise this to the negative 5 halves. Okay? Now, if this had been an even number, like if I'd have used 6, then I'd have 2 to the negative 3, right? Which would be 1 over 2 to the third, 1/8 would be 0.125, so you'd have 3.125. Okay, anyhow, that's not really relevant to how we solve the equation. Now, we could do it another way. Log base 2 of x minus 3 minus log base 2 of x minus 3 quantity cubed equals 5. Okay, meaning then that you have log base 2 of x minus 3 over x minus 3 cubed, because a log of a quantity minus a log of another quantity, same base, is a log of the quotient, right? A plus means you multiply them, a minus means you divide them. You should try to understand why, but at least right now be sure you know how to use the rules. Okay? Now, what a number of people seem to have neglected to do, and be really good to do it, is you got an x minus 3 divided by x minus 3 cubed, right? Isn't that 1 over x minus 3 squared? So you would have that, which is a little easier to deal with than this. And if you don't understand that, don't really want to take time to talk about it, okay? You really need to review. Just simplifying such expressions, okay? So anyhow, this tells you then that 1 over x minus 3 squared equals 2 to the 5th. Okay? Because again, you know, log base 2 is going to be 2 to the 5th. It's going to equal all of this. So that and 2 to the 5th is 32, so let's go ahead and write out the number. You're going to get this. Now what are you going to do? What kind of equation is that?
Quadratic.
It's a quadratic equation. Okay? So you could expand this, multiply this out, put everything on one side, use a quadratic formula, right? But you do something a little easier than that. Okay? You can write this as okay. Everybody understand how that happens? Divide both sides by 32 and kind of switch what's on the two sides. Okay? Because if something squared is 1 over 32, that something is square root, plus or minus the square root of 1 over 32. And 1 over 32 is 1 over 16 times 2. So this is plus or minus 1 over 4 square root of 2. So obviously, x equals this, right? Okay, well, well, 2 to the negative 5 halves is 1 over 4 times the square root of 2. Now we get this plus minus here, which is kind of interesting because we didn't get it over here, right? So either there's an extra solution over here that we didn't see, or we have an extraneous root due to our simplification, and we don't really want to talk about that right now. Okay? Something we'll get to, but it's a little confusing. So that illustrates the rules. You're going to have some problems like this to do for Thursday. Don't neglect them. They're straightforward. Just apply the rules carefully.